2. We are live.
Well, hello, people. How are you?
We're
I'm
live.
responding, obviously, because, yeah.
We're live. We're live. The Discord says we're live. Everyone says live. Well, probably no one watching because I don't think anyone watches this shenanigans, but we will.
Are we on talking?
Oh, yeah. Today we are, well, playing 76 again because 76 is a. I haven't really played the game, so I can't comment whether it's good or bad. I will fully admit that.
It's a very good survival game. I haven't played it that much myself. I do love Fallout. It just really isn't for me. But it's a good game.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm just trying to think.
I don't do survival games that much anymore. It just takes up too much time.
Well, I don't usually do them, but this one just seemed. This one let me skip to level 50. Level. What would it let me skip to again? Yeah, it literally gave me
And
the option. Do you want to be like. Do you want to start at level 1 or do you want to skip?
to be honest, well, when I was last playing World of Warcraft, I've got to say, I love the grind. If a That's wrong. What is considered the grind in these sort of games? It's gameplay mechanic. If it's done badly and it's done there just to cause you a way of wasting your time, it's grind work. If they find a way to make it fun and interesting, find it fun and interesting. It's not a grind. So for World of Warcraft, I used to love leveling up characters and just doing every little bit like, as it goes. And then just about a year before I stopped really playing, I was like, oh, yeah, I've got enough gold to just pay to level this guy straight up to 50 or to 100 or whatever the limit was at the time.
I have no idea how those cards. I don't like. I will say the one mechanic I'm not a fan of in this game is the card system. I unfortunately have had to turn the music off because, well, I don't have the rights to the music, and well, as much as we are doing this, there are. That was not my intention to throw a grenade at Robotrons. Oh, thankfully they're responders, so don't attack me.
That's it. Kill the medics because they don't fight back.
I wasn't aiming to.
But on the note of the game you are playing, we are playing it in honour of what we watched. Well,
Well,
months ago now, but maybe more than once since.
I've only watched it through once, but that's because I need to. When I start watching it, I know I'm going to binge watch it again, and I haven't had time because it is sitting there for 8 or so hours watching it because each episode is basically is an hour long, unfortunately. But it is such a good
Not
show.
unfortunately.
I will say
Not
this.
unfortunately. They pack a lot into each episode.
Oh yeah, it's not unfortunate 8 hours long. It's just that because it's 8 hours long, I don't have time to watch it constantly, rewatch it again like straight away. I should have went with Feral Ghoul. Oh no, sorry, left 20. But yeah, some of us have to go to work.
Yeah, same here. I usually watch it during my lunch break at work and things. I watched it the first time all on the TV because you kind of have to get the spectacle the first time round, I guess. But yeah, no, I watched it on smaller devices after that. Oh yes, Fallout on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, and I will say this is my first takeaway from the entire show, and this is what I think you'll probably agree with me. A video game adaptation done fucking right, finally. Just like The Last of Us.
I agree with you. I agree with you up until the finally. Last of Us was also done incredibly well, and a show that has somehow just gone under the radar for most people. And I don't know how, seeing as though it stars Anthony Mackie, aka now Captain America, previously the Falcon. Twisted Metal was awesome.
I can't say much on. I haven't watched it.
It has, if you're a fan of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I know it has Stephanie Beatrice in it. She plays Rosa.
Yes.
Stephanie Beatrice is amazing in whatever she's in. I enjoyed Has Been Hotel because she's flipping hilarious in that. She's good in everything she's been
Yes.
in.
I'm
But
just
also,
saying yes to everything you're saying.
but I will say this with regards to her: when you hear her talk outside of playing Rosa or playing Vaggie in Hazbin Hotel, her voice is completely fucking different. She does not speak like that normally. It's kind of funny. She is this super high pitched, bubbly person when she speaks normally, and I'm like, I can't reconcile this with the character she plays sometimes.
Hmm.
But
And yeah, she was in Kanto as well, wasn't she?
yep, I believe she's
Yeah.
I can't remember who she plays.
This is the main character, yeah.
Yeah, she's Mirabelle. Good.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I mean, oh, it's just awesome, just
Oh yeah.
awesome.
But I will say this. I think you were creamy over the Fallout. I think we both said it about we were having a chat about it, briefly before. All three characters in this, in the three main titular characters that we get introduced to in the first episode, feel like three types of people playing Fallout.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because since we've actually watched this, and we're actually recording this a bit later after watching it, there's been now interviews with Todd Howard and the directors and the writers and stuff, and they've literally confirmed what we thought straight out the bat. Each one of these was a different type of player, and how they see the world that they're in, and they did it brilliantly.
Oh yeah. What was it? Ella Purnell, who I have not really watched seen her in much before this because I don't watch a lot of shows personally, but I'm just gonna. But I absolutely adore her as as playing Lucy. She is literally the epitome of the kind of player that I am when I play Fallout, which is I pick a kind of character trait, personality trait, and I role play that character when I play that game, and she is the person that's role playing. Their character that is just straight up I'm immersed in this world. I'm actually a character in this world. Whereas our ghoul friend quite literally is
The ghoul.
The ghoul is quite literally the murder hobo. I'm good.
The murder. Yeah. Cooper is his name. Yeah, and he does that character very, very, very well.
And then our third character,
third and final guy, who I've got to say may becoming my favourite out of the three, is Maxim Titus.
Yes, Maximus is fucking Maximus is hilarious. He's the equivalent of what I think most of us are sometimes in those games where you get to you don't know kind of what you're doing with your character and you just get power armor and then go, I can beat everything, and then get stuck in the geometry.
He's pretty. He is, yes. So he is actually that guy from Fallout 3. We have all been that guy from Fallout 3, which is get straight out that vault and get yourself power armor. You do the little bunny hopping over the wall, talk to the guy, get the power armor, and you don't know what to do from there on, but you've got some power to do it. And yeah, that's him. And he doesn't know what he's doing. He's a new player.
Yeah, he's like the level 1 player that's got the high level gear by accident and doesn't know what the hell he's doing with it.
He's the guy who got Fallout 3, played it for a bit, went, I can't do this, then went on YouTube, saw a cheat on how to get the power armor, he went straight over there, he followed the video perfectly, got to where he needed to be, got the power armor, got out the gate and went, I still don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But nothing can kill me, so I'm just going to keep doing this.
Yeah, I will say I did like the bits before you get to the title screen.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed the scenes where we got off Coop back in.
So yes, okay, we'll get into this then. So yes, the first scene, the opening scene, is actually a pre-bomb scene, which is something like we have had before in Fallout 4.
Yep.
So we're seeing the world a few minutes before, a few seconds before midnight, if we want to use the nuclear clock term.
2 minutes, yeah.
Hello there. Yeah, and so we see a fantastic guy's name, Goggins. What is his first name?
Walton. Sorry, Walter.
Yeah,
Is it
Walter
Walter?
Goggins. Yeah, he is who is a fantastic actor in everything they've pretty much done. Um, he is the great character here who is Coop. What is his first name? Do you
It's,
remember his first name?
no, I just remember all we ever hear him called is Coop.
No, his name is actually on his movie posters, and his wife does call him Cooper. He's referred anyway. Doesn't matter. I think we have seen his movie posters before, but without, I think, in the
With that,
games. I think he has been shown before. But he is at a birthday party dressed up in Vault Boy colours, as a cowboy, with
oh
his
yeah.
daughter
Did you also notice
performing
that
at a
he is
birthday
Vault
party.
Boy?
Well, yes, that does come later on. We're jumping a bit.
No, but it's just a nice little thing that we finally found out who is
Who is Vault?
who is the guy that was the Vault Boy posters, basically.
Yeah.
It was quite an interesting thing to find out.
It's very funny, yeah. And to actually find out, well, if we're jumping in a bit there, but at the same time as we find out he's actually Vault Boy, we actually find out that the colours for Vault Boy don't actually come from Vault Tech themselves. Because Cooper is a famous cowboy actor, his wife actually says, "Oh, and we managed to arrange to get this costume in your colours." So actually, the Pit Boy colouring is from Cooper, his actual cowboy costume, which I thought was quite a nice touch there.
Oh yeah, it's quite a nice touch. It's nice little touches of. Some people will probably be some. I will say one thing: this show has garnered is that we have a subset of fans with this show that straight up are mad, that are a bit purists from the first two games. Which don't get me wrong, I love Fallout 1 and 2. I have played Fallout 1 and 2 a lot. They're like that's how I was introduced to the series, was Fallout 1, 2, and Tactics before Fallout 3. But the thing about it is that a lot of people forget is that most of the characters you meet in these games, it's been 200 years since the bombs dropped. They don't know jack shit about what went on in the past.
Yeah. The only people that have any real knowledge of the past are Vault people, because most of their data tapes and their information is more secure than anywhere else. But even then, most of these people were being used as some kind of experiment or another, so you can never truly get a full amount of it. You never know really what propaganda they were given. And also, as we know as players, when we go into these vaults, over these 200 years, there's been a lot of degradation to the information as well. What is quite funny is, what you see is, I mean, there are libraries, and there are books. Most of them are burnt books, ruined books, but there are books of old times, and comic books, loads of comic books, and things, and magazines. Oh yeah, there's got to be stuff around that gives you a glimpse of the past.
Oh yeah.
No one's going to truly know, and especially after the bombs dropped. So I think when we're talking about purists here, I mean, I think there's a lot of people that just want to complain.
Yeah, I do. I don't think it's more pure. I think it's more that you have a subset of fans that basically, you have a subset of fans that I will admit, I love New Vegas. New Vegas is a game that is amazing. It's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite games, but
because Interplay coming back to their best, to be honest.
Yeah, it is. It's Obsidian coming back to the franchise they made and bringing it back. And we know that they were originally into play. We know they were the guys who made the franchise. But the thing is, a lot of people that go for New Vegas is the best often forget that yes, it's good. Don't get me wrong, but there are bits of New Vegas. New Vegas was still just built on the Fallout 3 engine, the Fallout 3's playstyle, which to me made it lack a little bit in some respects. I always find Fallout 3 to be really hard to replay. But I can go back and play Fallout 1. I can go back and play New Vegas a little bit if I install some mods to kind of, boost it, the combat, and stuff in it. But I don't find myself able to go back and play Fallout 3 without the same thing. It's one of those things. The engine Fallout 3 and New Vegas is a bit more dated, whereas Fallout 4 and this one I'm playing right now do fix a lot of issues I have with Fallout 3 and New Vegas, where combat feels a bit more fun.
That's completely understandable. Weirdly enough, I'm the other way round, but not for any of those reasons. I actually do completely agree with you. The gameplay feels really nice in Fallout New Vegas. everything actually just feels like an upgrade. You're right, 100%. And even the story, from many extent, to much extent, I kind of just like the complete craziness of how much there is to explore
But
and just get lost
oh yeah,
in Fallout 3.
it's all right. It's all right. Someone, one thing that I've heard people have been spreading is basically spreading a rumor that the show is set before Fallout New Vegas, and it's like, no, the show has been set.
No, no.
It's the furthest along in the timeline. New Vegas happened like nearly 20 years ago.
Yeah, and Todd Howard has cleaned up everything to do with the timeline as well in a couple of interviews. As he has said, the times between these events happening, both New Vegas and this show, or the events they talk about in this show, like for Shady Sands, for example, the timelines are very, very tight. Things that we know from one is happening in very close succession. We only as players we've just found out about these things when we played it, and we're like, oh, they must be there forever. But no, we've found them whilst they're in a part of their own timeline. In their world they've existed for years before our player got there, and unfortunately they've died a few weeks after our players would have passed through.
Well, in the case of Shady Sands, it's the sign. The thing I say, oh, Shady Sands, 2077. What they don't read is that the sign says the decline, which if you pay for New Vegas, when you listen to the NCR and the discussion of the NCR, even they talk about the fact the NCR is spreading itself thin. The NCR, even in New Vegas, was in decline. It wasn't sustainable anymore.
Yeah.
Because yes, they beat the Brotherhood, but it cost them so much at that point that they were.
Yes.
That it's not a shame to see that. Unfortunately, the NCR did not survive past New Vegas, even because the most probable ending to New Vegas that we are possibly getting is, unfortunately, is the one that a lot of people probably didn't choose, which is the house always wins.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, because there is although New Vegas is canon to the Bethesda lore and timeline, it's malleable, if you will.
It's also
that has been mentioned before. It is made by a side company under license, and some of the things that they did they're completely them, and as much as can be used will be used. So some things may change or may be retold slightly different, as in, because time isn't, they're in a wasteland. Days, weeks, months, years are not always going to be consistent.
No, and also it's kind of hard. I don't think they actually have. A lot of them have working chronometers, so they don't actually know what year it probably is half the time. They just assume, what year did you say it was? It was this year. Okay, yeah, it's this year.
Unless you've come from a vault with a constant calendar.
Yeah. And the show is saying 2290 something. I think it's 99. New Vegas. And if you play all the DLC for New Vegas, including Honest Hearts, the one with the Legion guy, he mentions that the tunnelers, the things that you are fighting in most of that DLC, he even states that eventually they're going to find their way to the Mojave and they will bring down Vegas.
So, I mean, there's loads, and what I was getting to with the idea of it being law is, it also, New Vegas never actually got a sequel, which means in many ways, we don't know what the
outcome was,
ending would ever be. Oh yeah, and in this case, we've now found it out, and it's not one that people are very happy with. Or some people aren't very happy
we don't
with.
know which one it is at the minute, but we know for definite the NCR didn't win. Kaiser's Legion in the game even states multiple times that the minute Kaiser dies, that Legion will evaporate.
Yeah.
There's no Kaiser's Legion is so centered around Kaiser that in the minute he's gone, the Legion would have abandoned him, would have broke up, because there's no one holding it together. It was his will that held it together.
Yeah. We have jumped straight to so far in the end.
I know. We've jumped. Oh yeah, we've jumped to New Vegas a little bit. It's because of the. Unfortunately, you do get
because
this.
It is going to be asked. The question is going to be asked. We might as well get to the answer.
Yeah, but episode 1 opens with us being introduced to Coop in the before the credits, which is really cool. We get to see Coop. Just as And then that scene, by the way, I will say that
Yeah.
opening scene nearly made me cry when you know his daughter basically goes, "Is it your thumb or mine?" And you're just like,
Oh, right.
"Oh
Yeah.
no."
Yeah. So let's at least talk about that for a little bit because that was fantastic. The whole time this party's going on, by the way, in the background on the radio and people talking on the TV, they're saying, I don't know, this water's getting bad. These things are getting bad. Do you think really feels like it's going to happen today or tomorrow?
Yeah, which
It's
the mother changes the channel to kids TV show.
yeah.
Which was it not Grognak the
On
Barbarian that comes on the
It
TV?
was Godnet Barbarian and the Ruby Cavern, which is a game you can play on your Pit Boy, by the way, in Fallout 4. But no, yes. But if you saw all the way through, the radio's on right at the very beginning, and she turns it off and scolds the people for talking about it, and go outside and have a party,
Yeah,
have fun. But yeah, there's Coop there. He's doing his thing. He's this cowboy, and the kids are having their pictures taken, and the dad's being a dickhead,
yeah.
and
It wants to do the thumb
yeah,
thing. The thumb thing is
you asked him to do the fun thing. Yes, and we don't know what that is yet.
well,
And
we do a little bit. You get it in a later episode. What it is? You get it later. We don't know what it is at that point, but we know
at
what it
this
is.
point in time, no, we don't know what the relevance to the fun thing is, and whatever. But yeah, so as the thing goes on, they clean up. They clean up for the party. It's him and his daughter. They're cleaning up all their stuff while everyone else is eating cake.
Yeah,
And daughter asks the sweet question, "Oh, Daddy, what does the thumb thing mean?" And and he looks a bit, okay. And he mentions that when he was
serving
a
in the
soldier,
military.
serving in the military. So we also find out he was one of the early users of power armor in the resource war in
I think he mentions it.
Antarctica.
Yeah,
At,
Alaska is it?
Anchorage,
Anchorage.
Alaska, and then yeah, Operation Anchorage.
Which means we have an Anchorage
Yeah.
veteran as a veteran, which is quite nice.
Yes. He mentions to his daughter that he was told that if they ever dropped a big bomb, put your thumb out, and if the cloud was smaller than your thumb, run for the hills. You should be fine. As long as you run away from it, you'll be fine.
Yep.
But if it's bigger than your thumb,
Just stand there and die.
yeah. But then the daughter asks for some cake, and Dad's like, you know what? I'll see if I can get you some cake.
Yeah.
And then, whilst watching her do her thing, in the background, in the glass, in the reflection, you just see
Kaboom.
smoke billow up from
From
the
the
city
sea.
in front. He holds out her thumb, and we can already see in the reflection it's huge, and she's shaking and crying, and the dad comes out. He's like, "Oh, what's wrong?" She said, "Is it your thumb or my thumb, Daddy? Is it your thumb or my thumb?" And he looks round at the smoke and goes, "That's just smoke."
That's just smoke.
And then
Boom.
the mushroom clouds, and everything go to hell.
It's not so much it's the mushroom cloud, and then you just get the aftershock that
Yeah.
smashes all the windows, and it's
Yes.
oh dear God.
And so we now know where we are in the timeline. This is the moment the bombs fell in America, and as they're all running away, and we're following Coop on his horse with his daughter, riding off towards somewhere, and then we see another bomb, another bomb,
Yeah.
another bomb, another bomb, and then another bomb.
Yep.
And the screen drops, and we get the music. All it needed was Ron Perlman's voice. And war never changes.
Oh yeah, but I think the way they've started every episode, where it started by playing a song from 3 New Vegas or Fallout 4, where it just started playing one of the random songs that plays on the radios, was a brilliant way to do the intro. Each intro being a different song that kind of, if you pay attention, represents the episode.
Yes.
Because the one that plays then is the Fallout baby. It's the the one where he's about, don't mind the Fallout. It's like, oh yeah, because we all know what what's about to happen, what's happening. And then we are greeted to a bunch of character, a bunch of because I believe the first thing we see is it still follows. Is it first follows Cooper or does it follow Lucy at the start? Because I like that this episode.
It follows Lucy at the start as she goes through basically creating her character, telling us her character stats from her goat profile.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she goes through charisma, athletics, and special. Well, basically, it's a special skills. That's it, special. She's going for a special list.
And the fact that she even says this is my special skills, and then goes through it in special order, and I'm like, you just. Yes, this is how you do. It is literally like the scene in the game where you're doing the character creation. It's just a character creation scene. They did it so well.
You have to view this as a story from one of the games because that's exactly what this is. This is literally a Fallout story. But instead of you playing a character, you just get to sit and see what the characters do.
Yeah.
Very, very much so.
I also love the line. I also love in that interview the line of her just saying the line of, "Well, cousin stuff is fun and all, but I'm ready for the real thing." And I'm like, and you're like, wait, what does she mean by cousin stuff? Until you meet her cousin.
But here's the thing. You say that, but we've all played Fallout games.
Well, no. Remember, this is the thing. This is what I mean by it's so good because this is a show that some people I've seen that have watched it never played Fallout, like my.
Yeah.
Far, and those lines and stuff are like stuff that what the hell does that mean? And then it's like, oh god, it's just like
So I actually introduced this TV show to my mum, and she does love it.
Yeah,
I think she liked it. She liked it.
Yeah, they made a show that, in my opinion, the reason Lucy is such a good character, not just because she is the role play character, because she's the character that anyone who's never played a Fallout game kind of is learning the universe of Fallout with the viewers because she's discovering all the wasteland stuff.
Yeah, and they don't hit you with too much either because people start. And this is another thing I heard about complaints, and I was going to bring up later, but now, super mutants and all the other weird bugs and creatures in the show.
Yeah,
you know what? There's a reason why we're not seeing them. It's because you can't overload viewers. Yes. Me, you, and the millions of people that have played a Fallout game know about this shit. And if you just had one attack someone, we go, yeah, that's great. But if you start bringing in everything to a TV show that at least 30% are going to, I would say, personally would say, I've never seen anything to do with Fallout, that'd be way too much.
Exactly.
Bringing in super mutants and mega super mutants.
The behemoth stuff. But here's the fun thing: we did see a super mutant in the first season. We actually saw it in the first episode. You just didn't.
Did we?
Yep. When Herzig is escaping the Enclave lab, one of the things being wheeled behind him, you can see the super mutant's green arm hanging off the gurney.
Do you know what? I'm going to rewatch that episode for a third time just to look for that. That was good. That would have been fair enough. Clap, clap.
We do see a super mutant, but we don't see the whole thing. We just see its arm on purpose because they don't want to reveal stuff like that yet. This season is. If the way I think of this season as well is, it is the beginning of a video game. It's that intro quest.
It's the first 8 levels.
Yeah, it's the first quest. Basically, it's the first quest you start that gets you to the beginning of the main story.
Actually, yes, you're very much right. Yeah, it is the first part of the main quest, with a few side quests.
We'll talk about that in episode 2, where the Wasteland has its own golden rule. And that is the best fucking reference to these sort of video games ever. And you know what line I'm on about. You know, the Wasteland has its own golden rule.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
No, so I mean, there's so many weird Fallout player things that in this game I love, and I want to get to them. Because they are so good. But yeah, so we go through the vault and we find out that this vault has some sort of, and this confused me, as you know, because I messaged you straight away like, what the hell's going on? Yeah. This vault seems to have some connection to its neighbouring vault, 32, to the point where they trade. They trade vault dwellers.
Yep.
with some underground tunnel. So I was like, oh, wait a minute, are all the vaults connected in this? This is weird. But this will end up being explained. It's part of their experiment. If you don't know about Fallout and vaults, nearly all the vaults in Fallout were actually
I think
experiments.
there's
They
about
weren't there
10
to
that
save
aren't.
you.
The 10 that
Were
aren't are
to
literally there for are the control vaults, basically.
control vault. Yeah, and you very rarely get a control vault.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we go through Vault Life. We find out they're an agricultural society. They grow lots of corn down there, and yeah, they love their jelly cake. Um, but they are now waiting. Lucy has been approved to be to get a husband from Vault 32, and they are awaiting their envoy.
Yep.
And they arrive. They're a little bit dirtier, but they're all in Vault costume.
Well, I think the way that you kind of get the way explained away before we get the reveal of everything about him is that remember that it does mention that I'm sorry to hear about blah blah blah's death, and
Yes.
And the famine, their famine, because apparently their vault has been having a famine or something happening to it.
Yes. So the explanation there is that they're during a blight in which they lost nearly all their corn. Their overseer had also died during this harsh time, and they had to be replaced. And the overseer of 33 was there, and he was happy to not only receive a breedable husband for his daughter, but to give them all the corn and supplies they need to restart their agriculture.
Yeah.
And I will say, people have complained about this, that the fact that because of what happens later on, he's quite happy with this situation. I'm not going to say anything else past that. But actually, if you watch the show and listen to all the dialogue, the reason he's happy with what's going on is very much explained. And we'll get to that when it happens.
Yes. But, yeah.
So there is, I can tell you now, if there are any weird loopholes or plot points missed in this, that I haven't noticed it, or I'm expecting it to be fixed in the next series as an ongoing story event. I haven't seen any.
It's something that they don't want to fix, because they are certain. They did state Fallout 5 will begins after season 2 of this show ends.
Yeah,
there are plot points they specifically have been told to avoid, so they don't spoil stuff for the 5th game.
I'm not talking about stuff like that. I'm talking like in particular that particular scene with the two overseers. And people complain about why he was happy just to do the work there with them and do the deal. That isn't a loose thread. That isn't a missed plot point. Actually, if you watch the show, it's there, and there's a few others that people have talked about, especially regarding the eating and ghouls.
You mean the also the serum bit about the serum bit? A lot of people have
the serum bit,
but it's also
weird.
A lot of people seem to forget that the lore for Fallout does change constantly, because they're trying to
Ghoulification has always been strange, and we know of at least 2 or 3 different ways of ghoulification anyway, and it's not to say that any one of those all react the same.
Yeah.
Ghoulification, I'm going to loosely give as a loose term for anyone that is in that state. Yeah. There's a difference. Some people go feral after a few months. Some go feral after a few 100 years. Some never go feral. Some become glowing ones. Some need to eat. Some don't.
Yep.
So we don't choose, and that's in the games. So in the TV show, that lore still exists. In my opinion, that is not a mistake.
No, it's just I think it's because it's as we say, there are so many different ways that someone becomes. It's the same with supermutants. There is actually more than one way for the FEV to turn someone into a supermutant, because we know there are at least 3 different breeds of supermutant, like base supermutant, so far that we know of. And I mean the basic ones, not the bigger ones. I mean the normal ones.
We also know in some way, some form of ghouls must have to have been created in some way by the FEV, because multiple times throughout the games, super mutants won't attack ghouls and will refer to them as kin.
Yep, and ghouls will leave super mutants.
exactly. So at least in some form, they recognise them as similar to them. So I assume some ghouls as well. Maybe the ones that don't need to eat are the ones that are FEV created and probably more likely to go feral.
Yep. But in regards to it, it's
I don't know. That's my assumption.
yeah. But in regards, we get Lucy, we get the trade, we get Lucy meeting her new husband, who, well, let's be honest, they immediately just we get immediately them just going ham on each other in
Oh
the
yeah, yeah,
in
yeah,
their
yeah, yeah.
bedroom. That is just
Oh yeah, they get to making babies.
oh yeah. Like, and then I did love the sort of bit where we get the detection where she's like hearing sounds and stuff suddenly, like, you know, things going wrong, and she's wondering what the hell's going on, and then you get the bit where her Pip Boy just the Geiger counter on the Pip Boy just starts going off.
He works sakes wrong out. Like this guy's got scars. He's just wiped his dick on the curtains and he's drinking a gallon of water from a blender. Something's not right. So she immediately puts on her Pit Boy, and yeah, as soon as he's on, she points at him, and the Geiger counter goes bad.
Yep,
And then
Raiders.
she gets into a crazy fight.
I did love that. People go. A lot of people. Some people have been saying that. Oh, she's the big playback show been saying she's a Mary Sue. That she's a Mary Sue. She's unbeatable. And I'm like, dude, she nearly died in the first 10 minutes of the episode. She
I'm telling you
literally.
now,
She was about to die if she hadn't grabbed that jug. She was dead. He was winning that fight.
First time I played Fallout, I hadn't played a game like that. I'd not for a long time. I think I played. I mean, I played Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
So I kind of knew what I was doing in extent, and to an extent. The first two times I played Fallout 3, and I played the other Fallout games, but this was so different. I didn't make it out of the bleeding vault because I got the crap kicked out of me by vault dwellers. So
As you start fighting
yeah,
the vault.
Lucy's experience is pretty much my experience. I died, and when I finally did get out, I nearly died.
Yeah,
So,
it's a level 1 character trying to fight a raider. That raider kicks the shit out of her. A lot of people seem to forget that at level 1 in Fallout, most enemies at level 1 will. 9 out of 10, I've been one shot by enemies in the first, while I'm still level 1 to 5 by a lot of enemies that just show up.
you could get wrecked by a rad roach,
Yeah, because you don't notice it's there and it's so small to fucking hit half the time.
and then they keep bouncing around. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so she wins this fight by jamming a jar in his face.
After he
And
stabs her,
during the fight, she has got a massive knife cut straight through her side. You know, this is a lethal blow. She's down to at least 3 HP. You know, her Pit Boy's blinking. The chest cavity has just got a big X through it. But luckily, she has got a stem pack
yeah.
in the, and it just jabs it in, presses the button, boom, fixed, bandage.
I love the
How
fact
does
that there's
stem
no explanation of the stem back. It is just
They just work.
they just work.
How do they work? They just work. Right, so that's how we're going with this. I'm happy with this. I do not care because do you know what? I don't need to know. I don't need to know in the game. I don't need to know in this. You know why? It's not real. You know, once again, that's another complaint people had. How does it work?
I know, just works.
It works. I mean, you've not asked how the cold fusion generator is keeping the power on for 200 years. Are you seriously arguing about how the injection medical kit works? Because you want one? Idiot. Anyway, ran over. So she then goes out to try and see what's going on, and immediately gets to the armory. It's empty except for a fateful dart gun.
Mm-hmm.
And off she goes to see what she can do. Now, I've got to say, this was some brutal action. This was carnage upon carnage. I loved these scenes. I don't like slow motion. Zack Snyder has made me completely allergic to slow motion. And then they did it in the most funny and perfect way.
Oh, they're just utter chaos going on in the vault. Oh, do you know that someone complained about? You know what's her name? I forget her name. Is it Stella? The one that has the eye patch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They complained because Stella, was wielding an SMG. The thing designed a machine pistol basically while pregnant and was able to do it and kill things because she's they showed off a badass female. But like, dude, it's Fallout. There are plenty of badass male and female characters in Fallout. It's kind of a no genders barred game. It's just everyone is a badass in that game.
Here's my question to these people that say this. What would you do if you was a pregnant woman and your house was being attacked and you had a gun and you had the ability to fight them off? Would you go, oh, this might hurt me? Or would you go, this might hurt me, but they definitely will?
Exactly. I'm going to kill them. She just lost her
Yeah.
husband in that bit. She ain't thinking
She
straight.
had, so her husband had just been murdered. But also, you also then need to put into account what we then find out about her later on as well.
Yeah. What we found out later on, where she's from.
Yeah. So, I mean, once again, there's all these complaints, and I always, sometimes I think the people that complain about this only complain out of context. And it's easier to complain out of context than with.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Because I have a feeling they're people that made their preconceptions of the show before they watched it, and no amount of watching it or anything that cool can change what they think, if you get what I mean. They already have in their mind the show's going to be shit, I'm going to hate everything about it. So because of this, they hate everything about it because they've made themselves hate it. And then a lot of these people go, then their excuse is that, oh, I'd like it if it was good, but I'm like, if there's lots of people saying it's good and you're like one of the few saying it isn't, I kind of come to think that you're the one making yourself hate it, rather because you're saying you thought it was going to be shit before it came out. You've just made itself a self-fulfilling prophecy to you, rather than actually.
If you're Looper, you're wrong.
Well, especially if you're Looper. Looper's fucking terrible. They like, how many things need addressing for the show? I'm like, nope, doesn't need addressing. But also,
the only thing I is they need to add the Wild Wasteland perk. That's it.
I think she has that perk because this shit that happened in that show.
This is a digital show, which means they could easily add a press the red button now feature on this, and that is you get the Wild Wasteland perk as a viewer, and every so often, just in the background, something fucking crazy goes on. No one mentions it. No one says shit. It doesn't affect the people that don't press the red button. So crazy will just go on.
Have you not noticed that basically something crazy does happen in the background in almost every fucking scene where there's like loads of people there?
So yeah, if you are a fan of a particular film called Repo Man, then you definitely watch the backgrounds of films. So if you are a fan of Repo Man, definitely watch the background of this TV series because oh my, there is more. There is stuff going on there that you would probably see in a Naked Gun film. There's just something dodgy going on all the time.
Yeah,
it's great.
But also, one thing I do love is we get this scene with the vault basically being overrun. The dwellers actually, if you pay attention to the scene, lose. They basically get captured by the raiders, and the raiders' leader, who is revealed to be called Moldovar, at that point, is already for some reason knows Lucy's dad already, which we don't know how she knows Lucy's dad at this point.
Nope.
But knows Lucy's dad already, and offers him a choice. You can save these 5 people, or you can save your daughter. To which he obviously he goes to save his he puts his daughter in basically a locker to save her.
Yeah.
And then instead she just kidnaps him and tells the vault dwellers that she has like 5 of them
run and hide.
To run and hide, and then blows the cavern between vault 32 and 33.
Oh, she blows the vault door to 32, the linking door
Yeah.
to Vault 32. And they run out through Vault 32. And whichever way that they managed to get in, which we actually then find out they got in through the main vault door.
We found that out in like about 3 episodes later, though.
You'll find that out later. But logically, that's probably the way that they got out. So yeah, we've got that, and then so they go back to cleaning up. This is where we find a weird thing in my head. Pretty much my only complaint. We saw death and destruction on a level unbeknownst to this place before.
Yeah.
And yet, when we go back to the meeting later on, the only person that seems to be dead is one woman's husband.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but it's not a problem. Remember, it's entirely a game reference to there being too many NPCs and somewhere than there should be.
100%, I completely get it. And like once you say if you do actually murder out a vault, you will always find more NPCs come back. But yeah, unless you fully wipe it out, in some cases. But
Well,
yeah,
unless you do a quest that wipes it out. But it's the joke that.
Okay, I find it weird.
I think it's also because, think about it, if you pay attention to that scene, a lot of them are just fucking running away.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely saw one guy's head get clean swiped off. We then get what needs to be a new election, and possibly one of my other favourite Fallout jokes here.
No, that's not. That's Larry. 3 episodes later. The elections. Yeah, we don't get that bit yet. That's.
They have to.
No, they don't.
Oh no, we
Because
don't.
remember, for now they have the interim council with the 3 of the 3. I love that. You quite clearly can tell the other 2 that were on it are just there as plants. They're the nicest people ever. They're like.
Oh yeah, they're just following Betty. There's something dodgy about Betty. You can tell something dodgy about Betty from the start.
This is her year for This is her year for shows and movies, though.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. It's not because she's particularly dodgy in this episode, but she does play Blind Owl in Deadpool.
I was like, wait a minute, that's Blind Owl when I first saw her. I was like, for God's sake, where's Wade?
So I'm definitely expecting at some point her to be in an observer's desk, just huffing down a big line of cocaine. Whichever she's.
Oh yeah, but we get the weird thing with. We know that this is weird with the vaults. They're recovering. Lucy basically questions it and says, "Why don't we send the pieces? We need to send someone to the surface to get my father." To which, then we cut to the second character of the episode. I believe the second character we meet is Titus. Not Titus. Is Maximus?
Is it not the ghoul at night when they?
Oh yeah, it is. It's the cowboys. It's the 3 dusters that. Did you notice that when it's that bit, you can kind of hear? I think it's New Vegas music, a little bit.
Yes, because I think that's where he is, isn't it? He's particularly in that area.
You know, I think he's a reference to.
Oh.
He's a reference to the courier. I think that's the whole point of him. It's his joke. The joke is he's
the guy in the grave. Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's dug out of a grave.
Yeah. He's dug out of a grave.
So the ghoul is being left underground in a grave as a plaything to someone's name, and the name rings a bell, and I've got to say I haven't looked it up.
The name did sound familiar to me. I was like, I swear I know that character from somewhere. I think she's a ghoul. I think the reason, because remember she's harvesting his something from him. Basically, we find out later he's also being harvested from other ghouls.
Well, he has been. Yeah, no, it does mention that he gets dug up every now and again to have bits cut off of him. But we don't really know what that is in reference to. That I would just assume that was some sort of torture.
Well, if you pay attention, there's 2 bags behind, like above his grave, that has got something dripping into them.
Yes. Now, I assume that's the medication that they all that these ghouls seem to have to keep taking to stop them from going feral, and I thought that's what that was.
See, I thought it was the other way. We don't really. To be fair, we don't. It doesn't explain it. It doesn't need to be honest. at that
Well,
bit.
no, yeah, I know, but that's what I just assumed that was though, because as we get from later on, if they're not taking that particular drug, they do turn feral in this instance. So that's what I assumed then is what it was.
Oh yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, at the time he didn't. But sure, you're right. But he comes out swinging when he finds out what he's been called out for.
1 minute.
But this is where we get a great reference to what is happening. We're getting basically a little bit of background on the quest we're going to be given. And someone has escaped from the Enclave.
Oh, this is another thing that people
Um,
complain about. Why are the Enclave back? They got beaten down in Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3 and Fallout 4. And I'm like, did they? Or is that what they want the Brotherhood to think?
Also, until you take out that oil rig, the Enclave aren't gone.
Well, the oil rig, you take out the oil rig in Fallout 3.
Is that the canon? That's not the canon ending, though, is it?
It is. We take out the oil rig, you destroy
Is
the
it?
Enclave. Yeah, the Enclave in that area is destroyed. But it's like, I'm pretty sure that's not their only base.
No, that's just the main one.
Yeah, that's just...
You know what? I honestly didn't think that was the canon ending, so I just assumed it was that they were just going to keep sending people out from there. Okay, well, fair enough. Oh,
Yeah, we wipe out the oil rig, we take it out. All the endings to all the DLCs are canon in Fallout 3. Because Fallout 3 only has one, like, I think the only ending that isn't canon is that you don't put the Enclave's thing inside the, the water purifier.
Yeah.
The one that would kill everyone off.
Well, technically, the canon ending for that is the one where you die, but then in Broken Skill still get real risen.
Well, you get flooded with so much rad away that you basically just a walking, you nearly became a ghoul.
Well, it's one of the funny things because they had to change the end of that game anyway, not just because of the DLC, but because people started to complain that if you had Fox on your team,
yeah, or the ghoul character,
he wouldn't go in. No, because you could send Lions in, you could send her in, and she would die, and you would survive, and that was fine. But if you told him to go in because radiation doesn't affect him, he would say, "No, that's not my destiny. It's your destiny to go in there, you bastard." So people complained a lot about it. It's like, why wouldn't you send one guy that could survive in there?
No,
the smartest move to make.
Oh no, we also couldn't send the ghoul companion you could get in that game. You could send Lions in, who was the Brotherhood of Steel companion, but you couldn't send there's a ghoul companion you could get that you couldn't send them in either.
They changed it. They changed it in the end, so you can send. So about a year later, you can send Fulks in. But here's the thing: if you send Fulks in, not only does he chastise you for basically in your own destiny, but the ending for it, Omen tells you off.
Yep.
He said you cowered away and let a real hero do his job. And I was like, wait a minute, no, I was the smart one because none of us died.
Oh yeah, but they have to do it because they have to make the joke of it.
I loved Ron Perlman up until he called me a coward.
Yeah, but Jax, you are a coward. But yeah, we get introduced to Ghoul, and I love that those three guys are like, hey, come with us. This is our final score. You'll never have to work again if we pull this one off. And then he just kills the three of them.
Well, he makes a great point. Why would you work with someone who's thinking this is their last job? That means they don't want to do it anymore. That means they're never going to be at their best, right?
Exactly. I do this for the fun. And then then we get that introduction to the Ghoul of him heading off from where he is to go and to find the, and then we go to Herzig's. We go back and see her. We get to see Herzig and his escape.
We do.
Yep, we get to see his escape, which I love that he has the most iconic companion ever in every Fallout game with him. He has dog meat. He's got dog meat.
Yep.
And then we get Titus.
And we get Titus. So Titus, we just see as a young boy or not a young boy, a young man, getting the absolute granny kicked out of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, he pulls himself up. If anyone's ever seen Full Metal Jacket, he's basically treated like the Private Pile character. And if you don't know who Private Pile is,
Well,
actor Vince D'Onofrio,
yeah,
is awesome in everything he does. And you need to watch Full Metal Jacket. It'll break your heart. It's crazy, but it's a wonderful.
This is my rifle. There are many others like it, but this one is mine.
Dark.
The fucking it is. It's the actual, because it's a film that doesn't glorify. It's a film that, like Apocalypse Now, kind of does the whole. This is the horrors of war. This is the horrors of military life. It's not because sorry, but I will say this as a tangent, but the one thing I dislike about a lot of shows and stuff is they glorify it far too much. It's like, yeah, it's an action movie. I'm like, yeah, I love to see happy go stuff, but honestly, the films like Apocalypse Now and Full Metal Jacket, the stuff that does that sort of take on it, are my favourite sort of films, because seeing that horror is just...
Well, it's the weird thing, because you've got to remember, a lot of war films before those were war films about World War II, World War One.
Yeah.
These were the films where we were at, the people that were making these movies, those countries, they were the out-and-out winners. So it was always, glory and honour and fantasticness and camaraderie. But then...
Fucking hell, I did not see how many goals that was.
Full Metal Jacket, Hamburger Hill, and Apocalypse Now are all from the Vietnam War, and that was a shit show. No one won. You just had to. Everyone lost and walked away in just dire straits. So that movies kind of embody that in such that way.
Oh yeah, World War II. I do see a lot more. We're getting films that are showing a lot more of the horror stuff, because nowadays I think we are starting to get to that point where we kind of want to shy away from this, and we don't want to glorify these events anymore. We want to kind of show you just how fucking horrible they were, because we're trying to show people that you need to stop thinking these are good. These years and these were good points. They were not. They were honestly the lowest points humanity's ever reached.
Yeah, I mean, we actually look. There is this line of progression, and you see that because you had, like I say, the films we just mentioned, but then they go into films like Band of Brothers and what's that other one that was just incredibly Saving Private Ryan.
Yep, good film.
And then those showed the death and everything in World War II films. So you actually, and there is this progression of them moving away from everyone wins, like well, then you look at other, some of the older films like Guns of Navarone, they were kind of dark as well, but they were still almost at the end. All these, it was just like, it was almost funeral music and dirge, which is kind of what it is.
Oh yeah, it's one of those things. It's regards to everything though. We've divulged, but yeah, we get Titus getting beat up because he's basically the newbie. We then get...
He's the newbie. No one really likes him.
He's also, I will be honest, he's a bit of a fucking idiot.
He is.
I love.
He really is.
He is. He is the epitome of that character that you don't know what the fuck you're doing. You've made a character that's really good at certain things, but you've not put stuff in the right...
Yes. Oh, yeah, no. He's definitely the character that's put every stat into stamina.
Yes,
got
stamina.
No depth, no intelligence.
He's put into stamina and strength. That's about it. He's the...
Well, no, I think he's just got stamina and accuracy, because, like, he can shoot shit. And he can walk for days. But, he's going to fall off of everything. He can't talk to anyone.
No, he has no charisma. He's absolutely... He's just like... He is really funny when it comes to talking to people. But you meet his friend Dane. They are
You do.
played by a wonderful non-binary actor. And also, I like the little subtle scene we get where they are. The only time they're ever referred to by that show is they are a character that is they them, which a lot of people are taking offence to because of how zealous the Brotherhood is. Why would they accept someone like that? And I'm like,
No, but
because Fallout doesn't
not
have
what they-
the bullshit. It doesn't have the stuff we deal with. And Fallout's all the Brotherhood gives a shit about is, can you fight? Yes, cool, join us.
Yeah, but once again, they're not zealots about that stuff. They're zealots about technology. They don't want the rest of the world to have pre-war technology. They want it for themselves.
Yeah.
It has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with the people's lives within it,
Oh
other
yeah.
than the fact they have to live like soldiers' regiment. So that just, but that's fine.
I'm also pretty sure,
You
if I
can
remember
still be
correctly,
anything.
half the Brotherhood of Steel we meet in some of the games are, but we meet both men and women in the Brotherhood of Steel. It's like pretty
Yes.
much the Brotherhood of
I
Steel
mean,
is not an organisation that, as some people seem to have this weird thing where they think the Brotherhood's all men. It's like, no, they're not. The Brotherhood, it just takes whoever
no,
the
they're
hell
not
is willing to
leaders.
fight.
They've had female leaders.
Yeah, whoever will fight, the Brotherhood takes. Don't give a shit who you are. Will you follow our tenets? Will you follow our rules? And will you fight? Yes, yes, and yes. Cool, you're in.
But so yeah, no, I'm completely. I don't understand any of that.
No, I didn't even notice. To be fair, I'll tell you how much it's not an issue. Take it from somebody who is part of that community, the LGBT community, Plus community. I didn't even notice it until someone pointed it out to me afterwards. I only noticed it after that because that's how well it's done. It's done in a way that it's there, like it should be.
I can't remember their name.
What, Dade?
It's Dane.
Yeah, because it's the one that we find out later on. Because we get the brilliant shot of the vertibirds coming into the base, and we get the freaking knights coming out of getting off the vertibirds, and we get the beautiful shot of the power armor of T60 armor, and it is so well done. They lovingly paid attention, did that armor really well. Did you notice?
Yes, everything. Yeah. So no, the reason I asked was because I thought I knew them from something else, and I do not. Oh yes, I do. I watched that. Yeah, Wheel of Time. But no, I actually don't remember Wheel of Time. I did watch it. I don't remember it. But no,
apparently the books are better.
But
But I've never read the books, but I generally did enjoy the series. But that's probably because to me it's just a fantasy series. I'm like, I think you know my stance on Rings of Power. Yes, it's not canon, but I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure at this point we need other artists' interpretations of that world because unfortunately, in the terms of what you call it? Ooh, hello.
My issue with that though was it was never that that it wasn't canon. I just think it should have been better.
Yeah, could have been better, but it was a decent show for what it was, in my opinion.
I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to watch the series again. I will watch the second series. I'll watch it all once. I would be remiss if I didn't say that I very much enjoyed Lenny Henry in it.
I was so shocked when I saw him, and I was so happy.
I was happy. Oh yeah, that was the thing. I saw him in it, and I was happy. What? So you know what? Whatever anyone says about it and whinges about him being in it or whatever his character was, I fucking enjoyed it because it was him. If it was anyone else, I wouldn't care.
Oh yeah, well, it's like the dwarf lady, what's his name's? I forget the one that, who he is.
The one. You mean the oh yes, I do. I was thinking of the young hobbit. Yeah,
Gloyd.
I was thinking of the Hobbit. City. She's from Raised by Wolves.
Yeah. No, I was like Gloyd's wife being a dwarf that has slight stubble, probably because she prefers to keep her beard trimmed because that's just the way she prefers it. But it's like people going, oh, she's not a dwarf. She doesn't have like a massive beard. And I'm like, why does it matter? Not all dwarves are going to look the exact same. Yes, it is intrinsic to their culture, but it's probably more intrinsic for male dwarves than female dwarves because of one throwaway line in the Lord of the Rings film. People are like hung up onto her not having this massive bushy beard.
It's just craziness. Weirdly enough, and it's also that's another bit of weird interpretation because in a strange way, I have a kind of similar. I've had arguments, but discussions with people with the TV series called Watchmen, complained about loads of bits in that don't make sense, and I was like, because you've only watched the film, which is an interpretation of the book, and this is a sequel to the book.
And also, the film is widely hated by what's his face, but he widely hates any adaptation of the stuff he does. He's a little bit like that. He does hate adaptations of his shit.
I will not say that person's name because just in case, but that person you are talking about hates everything. He's the most miserable person in the known universe.
Yeah, he is. He's quite miserable.
And and to be fair, people I know who have had to deal with him, a very nasty person.
Yeah.
So screw him. But past that, I actually do. It's a Zack Snyder film, and for my sins, I really, really,
well, to be fair,
really enjoy
it's
it.
a Zack Snyder film before he got full of himself. Let's be honest.
No, it's not. We had Sucker Punch before. I wasn't Sucker Punch before that.
Nope, Sucker Punch was after the Watchmen.
Oh God. No. Oh yeah. And to be fair, he did also do a very good adaptation of Dawn of the Dead, but that's because it was written by James Gunn.
But let's also be honest. He wants to now release the Snyder cut of Sucker Punch to try and fix it, and I'm like, you can't fix this shit. I'm sorry, you can't.
He's already said that he wants to do the same for Rebel Moon Part 1 and Part 2 because apparently Netflix didn't give him enough time or money. And yet Netflix gave him unlimited time and unlimited money. So I don't know what more time and money will do to fix the fact that he uses slow motion in nearly all of the films.
Oh no.
Moist Critical actually, after watching it and saying he didn't like it and got loads of the Snyder bots chasing after him, he then rewatched it again but recorded how long it takes, or how much of the film is in slow motion.
Yeah.
And he was like, not only most of the film is in slow motion, because you only get 10-minute segments of it not being, basically. At one point, it goes into super slow motion.
Having never watched it, because personally, Rebel Moon doesn't interest me. Mostly because the last film I watched by him was...
it's offensive.
What's it called? Day of the Dead? Not Day of the Dead. The one that he made, the zombie one heist movie with Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
I watched that and was like, what the fuck is this shit? Like,
it's terrible. It's
like
3 different movies sewn together.
Yeah, and one of the actors wasn't even, thingied with recorded with the rest of the crew. Like, no, but
that's it. Because all that film was he had an idea for a zombie film because he wanted to redo Dawn of the Dead. Because that would take him back to his old school roots of being quite cool. But he was also trying to make this weird crime group, like almost like Ocean's 11, and he'd already sort of partially done one film, and then went, well, actually, what if we found out that this group I'm working on over here also survived the zombie apocalypse, and they're going to do something over here as well. Have you not learned anything?
Yeah,
about everyone hating what you did with Justice League.
Too many plot points, too many plot lines. The problem is, I will say this. He's a good director, right? He's a shit writer. Let him direct your movie, fine. Don't let him write the fucking film. That's basically it. He'll get you like the movie you want to write, the movie you want to do. He'll get it be like a fairly decent film, you know what I mean? But just don't let him write it. Never let him write it.
He probably is Watchmen for him. What he likes to do, Watchmen was perfect. He gets to use heroes that murder people. There's loads of sexual violence, lots of promiscuity, and a lot of mixed morals.
Yeah.
And he also then gets to share. He also gets to a lot of. If you watch a lot of these films, where he's allowed to do this as well. He will say it's commentary on the of today and how people react to things. But there is a lot of vocal hatred towards certain groups of people that get shouted. And I always, although he represents those people in those things, if I'm not going to say which, just watch over a few of his films and you'll find out. It always feels like he has those so he can have the people scream at them sometimes. You know?
Oh no.
Um,
He doesn't feel.
and I could be wrong on that. That could be my bias towards him feeling that. I completely get. But
Yeah, but to go back into what we were on before we went on a tangent, as usual.
yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, we've barely even talked about the first episode. I think we're gonna have to fucking talk about an episode of fucking session. I think at this point, Ray Jax.
Oh, God, yeah, we're never going to get through the whole lot because we've only just got him. I mean, so yeah, let's do Titus quickly. So Titus's storyline basically is he's not really good at his job. He's not going to get promoted, but he wants to be. You know, he sees things. He sees the Brotherhood as the law and the propaganda would tell a player they are.
Yeah.
What you see is what they actually are. And you know, he sees the Brotherhood Knights as these actual knights of old that protect the innocent and the needy. And they're not. They're kind of arseholes that just want to fire guns because they've spent many, many years as the guy he is, cleaning boots and getting a kick in. So, you know, he's on the lowest part of the totem pole, and he finds out that his friend Dane, they are going to be promoted to one of the squires of a knight. So, and this is not something you've, to my knowledge, we've seen in the games so much. I know they have. Are they referred to as squires in the games? Are they? Okay, fair.
I
didn't know. I know there were scribes. I didn't think there were
scribes. A squire is
they
one who becomes a knight eventually. A scribe is the guys who are in charge. Scribes are the intelligent ones.
Yeah. And so he in this case he goes around. He holds the bag full of weapons and supplies for the guy in the mech suit that doesn't need to worry about weight carrying.
I know, I love that. That's a brilliant joke. He's got the power armor. He doesn't require to the way he doesn't. His carry limit is like 4 times yours. You can carry all my shit, mate. No, but if you also pay attention, it's actually the joke. It's the joke. How do I carry all this shit?
That was my. I was going to say it's the joke. How does a player carry 6 or 7 different rifles, a missile launcher, all the ammo, all the food, all the junk you've put in? It's just a massive bag that you're dragging around on your ass.
Yeah.
Very well done. I liked it.
It also is, how are you dragging it around on your ass without being slowed down? Well, you're not the one dragging it, really. It's just an invisible dude dragging this for you. Just some dude.
Basically. So yeah, we get their interactions really of what's going on with those two, and they are sent off also to look for. I don't know what. Well, I mean, we jumped a bit. I'm sorry.
Well, Dane. So Dane's happy. He's happy. What I love is that we get that subtle thing where he gets really angry and starts smashing the thing while he's cleaning the latrines.
Yeah. Which is funny because that will come back later.
Yeah. While he's smashing the latrines.
No, his friend's got the promotion. Yeah, and he's quite happy about it.
Yeah, he's a bit happy. He's just smashing a bunch of shit, a bunch of latrines up while in frustration. Nothing bad happens, and then a day later, his aspirant, when they're all after they go to sleep for the night, his friend is waking up, and his friend suddenly puts their boot on, and there are razor blades like taped into their boot, and cuts up their foot.
Now, weirdly enough, I didn't notice. At first I thought it was going to be something like there was a rad roach or a rad scorpion in there, and that's why the foot was mangled because it was starting to melt. But yeah, it was razor blades all inside the boot. It was disgusting.
I love that they didn't shy away from it though, from the actual disgust. Yeah, we have Titus then gets taken by one of the scribes and questioned if he's the one that did it. To which he's adamant he didn't. He's fully telling us he didn't.
To be honest, you didn't know if I believed him or not, though. If I'm honest,
I didn't know if I believed it or not until we got the review. Until later in the episode, we were getting the reveal of who actually did do it. That was quite actually interesting when we got that reveal.
Yeah, I was actually shocked by that.
But yeah, and then
so you get his interrogation. Whatever happens there, you can find out. But we get a little bit of his backstory, in a weird way, in a flashback.
We don't get what he survived. We just know that he was found in. We found him climbing out of some object, basically.
No, he's climbing out of a fridge freezer. We do notice it's a fridge freezer because straight away everyone pointed out that it's Indiana Jones, but it's also a kid from Fallout.
Fallout 4.
Or Vegas.
It's Fallout 4.
It's Fallout 4?
Yeah. New Vegas is...
I forget how old the game is.
Yeah. Ah, fuck.
Yeah. And as he steps out in the light, there is a Knight of the Brotherhood standing over him, beckoning him to safety. And that's what he wants to be. He wants
to become a Brotherhood Knight.
To be a knight. Now he gets as a squire, and they're off on their first mission.
I love how fucking realistic that scene was, though.
Yeah.
So they're on their first mission. They're tracking down the fugitive. It's a cave that we see the fugitive approach earlier in the episode. Oh.
No. We're missing out one of my favourite bits that I wanted to actually talk about.
Which is?
We then actually cut back to Lucy.
Oh yeah, so no, we don't get that bit. I suppose that bit's episode 2 that we get.
What, where she's walking around outside?
Because remember,
because the end of her episode is her getting out of the vault. Yes,
yeah,
right.
because the end of the episode is her leaving in the vault. So we have Lucy's basically teams up with Norm, her brother, who clearly took the small frame perk. I love him. He is. He's Rico from.
Around with the detox on the look.
Yep. Oh, this is what we forgot to mention. Pretty much all of the actors they chose, everyone that's in this,
looks like a Fallout character.
Yeah,
and I mean that with love.
Yeah, like the camera angles and stuff they chose makes everyone look like they were, sort of made with the character creator. Like they've done a really good way of showing everything.
Yeah, it really is weird. Yeah.
Yeah, her and her brother and her cousin, who we met earlier. What's his name? Owen.
Yeah.
Who is in love with her, but as she says, cousin stuff is fine for messing around, but
it doesn't make good for family options.
No, it's not good for sustainability.
Right. So she's out. She escapes.
Yep.
And as she comes out, this is when we actually find out where we are in the world regarding that vault.
Yep.
Because we see a very familiar sight if you've played some of the older games.
Yeah.
Particular fairground in a pit.
Do you know where we are in the world? We are in LA. It's like, oh, hello, California. Welcome home.
Yep.
Fallout 1 and 2. It's like back to the beginning where it all started.
Yeah. And I've got to say, I was so impressed. So impressed with this series.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, this first episode, absolutely... We have the ghoul arriving in LA, basically. We have Titus being put on the ship as the squire with on the vertibird with his new knight Maximus.
Now, people have. Now, this is another complaint people have about the show. How isn't it so much coincidence that all these people keep getting to where they need to be, just as they need to be there? And when I hear that kind of complaint, I think, what you mean, just like in a TV show.
Yeah. Or in a video
Or
game.
in a video game.
Because that's the whole trope of video games and shows. It's the characters get where
Because when I'm
stuff doesn't happen until the main characters get there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine if you were watching, I don't know, the Batman movie, and Batman gets there, and they go, "Oh no, they left." Oh, like about 40 minutes ago.
Yeah, the Joker just murdered everyone and left.
No, they got bored and just went home. Everyone's gone. Even the hostages are gone.
He let him loose. He got bored because he didn't show up.
Yeah. I mean, you know, so things have got to happen in the right way. Otherwise, can you imagine an entire film where all the people just never met?
Yeah.
None of the plot points got. That would make a great Mission Impossible film, wouldn't it?
I know.
You know, Tom Cruise gets to the place and there's no one there because the guy just decided, oh, it's Tuesday. In fact, I'm just going to take a nice day off and have some yogurt. And then the next day he blows the world up. It'd be funny.
Yeah. It's like it's very much that is one of those things where I'm like you're just complaining about this to complain about it because you're just kind of thinking you're forgetting that this is a TV show and unlike real life these things have to have this stuff happen, otherwise the plot does not move forward. I'm sorry, but no one would watch a show that was 8 episodes of someone just fumbling about the wasteland with no real plot, just learning all the shit in the wasteland. I know that's
know who. I do that. I love it when I'm playing a video game.
I feel like I'm doing right now, where I have this entire video just been fucking wandering around random places.
Yeah, and if I want to just listen to someone tell me lore without any real anything going on, I will listen to the storyteller.
I'll listen to the Empty Apple or the storyteller, because those two people are really good.
Mm-hmm. It used to be. I have my own issues with what ended up happening to Shoddy Cast and the person who now owns it. But the old school Shoddy Cast was awesome.
But in regards to stuff like the Nth Apple and Storyteller and stuff, that's where I want to learn the lore of the place, or what a lot of people get is a lot of the lore we get from these places is also just theory sometimes because we can't fully know the story of shit. Because a lot of our stories we have to kind of figure out what happened just from from reading this thing. You know what I mean? Reading this this terminal. Okay, this is what they wrote. Is this what actually happened? Because we're learning stories like, how did this happen? Because remember, when these people put this stuff on the terminals, they're already putting down in like a quick format. They're not saying single little thing that happened.
No.
A lot of Fallout and lore of like these sort of games is you fill in the blank. I can get why people don't like the way Bethesda handles Fallout because they want a lot more deeper stories and stuff, and Bethesda's not particularly good at telling deep stories. I will give it Fallout 4 story, and Fallout 3 story is nowhere near New Vegas or Fallout 1 or 2.
Here's the thing though. I will say that the mainline quest for the Fallout games by Bethesda are usually very linear.
Yeah. You can find ways around, like in Fallout 3, you can find your father if you know where the vault is. If you know the vault where he is, where he's in the murder vault, you can literally just go straight there and like skip half the story.
But here's the thing. The other stories that you get to experience in that world are some of the most deep stories you're gonna find. I mean, this is why I know you mentioned Nth Apple there, and I also listened to Epic Nate, The actual lore of the rest of the world
Yeah.
is so good and so rich and so much going on.
I'm
I
waiting
mean, both
for
of us.
Fallout London to be released because I was looking at the progress line. It's apparently supposed to come out this year. They've been pushed back a little bit because they just released the next gen update for Fallout 4.
Yeah,
With a show. But they were
yeah,
due to release this about, I think it was this month or next month. So they've had to push it
yeah,
back a little bit. But like, they've got like so many big name actors they've paid to just voice characters in that. And I'm like, I really
yeah.
want to see how someone's taken what happened to London in Fallout. Because
I've always been fascinated by what happened to the rest of the world because we know stuff has happened around the world, but we sort of do. I don't know how much we can believe some of the characters that say that
yeah,
because nearly all of them are in America after the war, after the bombs dropped. They're here modern day, and they've just travelled here. Um, I don't believe them. I think it's fake. I don't think we know actually really what happened. I don't know I don't truly know if the bombs hit everywhere. And now we obviously don't because
well,
of stuff. But
we don't know if Thingy actually if what we get revealed is we know. Like some people have. So this is a spoiler for a later episode. We'll probably go more into depth in the other episodes later. I think for now we're just going to go in depth for the first episode mostly and talk about that one.
yeah,
What we might do is after the X-Men podcasts are finished, because we are next week will be another will be a longer episode for X-Men, both today's episode and next week's episode. And then the podcast 2 weeks after that, because we've got 2 weeks scheduled. 2 weeks after that will be the podcast for the final 2 episodes of X-Men 97. Then when we come back after, I think it'll be 3 weeks, won't it? Because unfortunately you're away, I think, after that one. For a bit. For a week. For an extra.
Well, the first week I'm away, I'm just over there hanging out with a wife, but she works. I mean, well, right now she has to sleep before work. That's what I'm glad to hang out here a little bit more, so I can do the podcast and play D&D that week. Are we still live?
We are still live. We are still live.
Okay,
But I was saying the schedule for if anyone was watching. So there's actually a schedule.
Yes, okay.
Schedule. I believe next week.
Yeah, and then
next week we'll have the first 2-part. We'll have the 2-part for the X-Men. Then I believe 2 weeks later you're still available. I believe that is because that's the week before you go away. I think.
Mm-hmm.
So then after that there'll be a 3-week hiatus because the 2 weeks would fall on that week you said you're not available.
Yeah, so one of the weeks the first week I will be available. I should be available.
Yeah. But I think
and then the second week.
Yeah, but I want to save it for after X-Men's finished because next week's one will be the 2 episodes we've just seen, and then the 2 weeks episode after is going to be the finale.
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if I'm prepared to talk about what's going to be about to happen in the next couple of weeks.
No, I don't know.
This
Especially not after knowing what.
This storyline. Yeah, the storyline it looks like they're going for is a very special one for me because it is the first storyline I read when I first got back into comic books again when I was about 11 or 12 after many years of not. And I love it. So I can't wait to see what they do.
I'm also incredibly. I will say one thing we will spoil about. Well, for the episode in regards to it, with it. One thing we will tell you is that there is one meta line that I think we both agree is really a really good way of them just pointing out that all the villains in the original show were kind of held back by the ratings a little bit, tongue-in-cheek way of doing it.
Yeah.
You guys have been trying since '92, and it's like, thanks for pointing out that the old show they couldn't do the shit they've done today.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we know what's happening. We know who's here.
Would not be allowed on Fox Kids back in the day.
No.
I can promise you all this stuff.
Especially not after what a certain character does in this episode, just what she straight up does without before we even know what he is.
I mean, everything up until what we've talked about already, which is Life Death Part 2, I think was the last thing we talked about.
That was last week.
almost last week. Oh wow, it's
Flies
just
by.
so much. Um, no. I mean, you know what, I really felt there was another episode in between that we hadn't talked about. It's just because there's just so much in all of them.
Yeah, it's because they
Yeah,
know they've only got like 30 minutes to get a story out. They are cramming a lot in, and people are going, "Oh, why?" Some people I've noticed have been complaining about the format of them, going, "Why are they doing these stories so quickly?" And I'm like, "This is how the original," and loads of people pointing out, "This is how the original show did it." So
this
many
is
of,
not only how the original show did it. This is how comic books do it.
yeah, they have to get you hooked, so
Um,
the stories aren't. You might get like a serial of like the Mask of Genosha in the comics might be a series of comics over like a 12-part serial, but the comic itself goes through action quite quickly because it has to keep you gripped reading it.
yeah. And I mean, yeah. Granted, yeah, the actual Attack of Genosha was longer. Um,
Yeah, but you
but
get what I
in
mean,
comic
don't you, in
books,
regards to it?
yeah, no, I do. I completely understand. I mean, I was actually pointing out you were right there. In my comparison, doesn't make sense in that issue, weirdly enough. But especially you have to do so much with the time you've got, and they're telling a very big story over
Yeah,
8 episodes, as well as clearing up everything that was left over from nearly 30 years ago.
yeah.
Um, and
We now have a
trying to
three-part
introduce
finale to go on to, and I'm really not ready for the first episode. I feel like I'm going to get really sad after this first episode.
yeah. But
Because,
what's interesting is like I mean, we've been discussing this between ourselves and on air about how what we thought was going to happen. Now, we've and what writers' storylines that they're going to use.
we both thought,
Um,
originally, what was it we originally thought the finale was going to be? We both thought the finale was going to be episode 5. We thought
yeah, I mean,
it was going to be
yeah,
episode 8, episode 7 ends with basically the first explosion and the where we got the
yeah,
cable bit with boom and everyone, and it's just like you just see that bit where it's the staticky sound and everyone being thrown. Then the next episode would open with where that bit ended, with Rogue pushing stuff off and everyone sort of figuring out what the hell's just happened, and then seeing the Wild Sentinel,
yeah.
and having the episode where we've got the whole battle for it, which would I would think would end that episode would have ended where Magnus got blapped by it at that
Uh-huh.
point. And the last episode would have ended basically with what it did, where you have this whole fight where they're trying to keep more people alive, you're seeing more mutants get murdered left, right, and centre, and then Gambit basically just Rogue about to kill herself, and Gambit just do what he did and knocks her out of the way to give his own life as he did.
Well, now, weirdly enough, I think the Magneto thing and the Gambit thing would have happened in the end of the second episode,
Okay.
and the first episode would be the kind of aftermath of that, the rest of the fight, and then at the end, you get the turning point. You get the spark of hope. You get either the Phoenix returning, or you get Onslaught coming into play, or you get some sort of, or you'd get at the time Charles Xavier coming back with some sort of extra element like this year.
Oh yeah.
So that's what I thought. I mean, that was my deviation from that. Would be I would have thought that you'd get the saving moment at the end. You've got
Oh,
a lot of death and destruction, but we know our people are safe at the end. Who are safe at the end.
oh yeah.
Um,
But
and ready to set up scene 2. But
but
we
yeah,
didn't get that.
no, we got that in episode 5, and it was just heartbreaking that entire episode. And they got
Punch.
us. They got you with the song they picked was perfect for the dancing scene.
Ace of Base is fantastic. Yeah, Ace of Base is fantastic. Happy Nation is a great song. But I know that song.
Uh-huh.
And I know that song very well. I'm a bit of a big. I'm a fan of Ace of Base. And it was weird because I I I didn't notice it in the first time we hear it in the show, which is in the first episode. Um, the chanting's there. It's all there but broken up.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until after the Genosha episode I watched Ryan Airy talk about it. He was like, it's a song from Ace of Base. I was like, fucker, they did it shit literally from episode 1.
Yeah.
You're right, it is the song from Ace of Base.
It's not just that the first episode, we now realise the vision from the first episode quite literally was Madeline/Jean getting the vision of what the hell was about to happen. Of everything about
something has been telling her. Madeline has been psychically being told for a while now by, as we know, Cable, and it's not been getting through properly.
Yeah.
So we got all that. So we like you were saying, we both then went into theory mode.
Oh yeah.
Both wondering what we were going to get. And we both took different writers' storylines down, and both were very, very eligible. Honestly, but I want to say I did mention I had this thing about Bastion. Oh shit! I spoiled it, but I had the
Well, we started with the Genosha episode.
Yeah, but even before that, I did mention I had this weird feeling when they started bringing out the other Sentinels.
Oh yeah.
It was a back. But yeah, it wasn't a proper serious one until I then started, because we got a picture of him, and then we got to see him, and I was like, come on, man, it can't be. I mean, as much as I want it to be the Moira McTaggart House of M, a Power of X stuff, a Power of X House of X stuff, which is some great storylines. Having what we're getting, it's going to be dark, especially straight after Genosha.
Yeah. And I'm trying to figure out what the acronym means for the entirety of that.
I can't believe I didn't get it. It was so obvious.
Yeah. I can't believe I didn't get it. But what I'm going to do for everyone, I'm going to say goodbye to everyone who's watching the stream. We're going to say goodbye.